Hello everyone, Luke Smith here. In this video I'm going to be reading a transcript for the Wollaton Park Gnomes. This is from a tape that was made in the 70s, I believe. Yeah, the late 70s. Now let me just give a backstory to how I found out about this. I'm subscribed to Shrouded Hand on YouTube, and he made a video recently about the Wollaton Park Gnomes, which a bunch of school kids discovered gnomes at this particular park. It's in Nottingham. You can actually go there. It's a Wollaton Hall and Gardens and Deer Park. And from what I seen in the video, if you go here, back in the 70s, this was like a boggy area, and the gnomes were here, and the kids were like on this Digby Avenue, it's called. They was actually interviewed on tape, and it was been transcribed. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be reading this transcript right here. 17 pages. I had to download it because otherwise you'll be seeing ads all over the page. I'm going to be putting a link to the original website where you can download this if you want in the description. I just found this very interesting, so I just wanted to read it. 23rd of September 1979, 6 or 7 primary school children went for an early evening walk at Wollaton Park in Nottingham. This is the UK, by the way. Nottingham's up north, Midlands. These children were then approached by about 30 small cars, each with a gnome driver and passenger. The gnome cars did not obey the normal rules of physics. They were able to jump over logs and left no marks in the mud. There was no noise from the engines. There were, though, bell sounds and triangle car lights. The story was covered extensively in the newspapers, both local and national. Local mean local to the area, and national means whole of the UK. The headmaster, R.A., they're keeping it all anonymous here, by the way, if you haven't gathered, interviewed and taped 3 children individually. A.E. girl, A.P. boy, and P.O. boy. Okay, so there's 2 boys and 1 girl. I have not given the full names to respect their anonymity. Note that I, Simon Young, received a transcript just in the last days, November 2016. So this is when the transcripts were got possibly put up. And I've now put it up on the web as it will certainly interest others. So this must have been posted in 2016. I have never seen or heard the tape, but it comes from an impenetrable source, and I have absolutely no doubt that this is genuine. The only question might be over the quality of the transcripts in places, as the voices seem sometimes to have difficult to make out. I would be particularly keen to speak to any of the then children, now in their 40s, who witnessed or remembers of other talking about the experience, or the headmaster who carried out the interview. And it's got his email account there. So okay, this was posted on the 27th of November 2017. Right. So let's actually get into it. First interview, A.E. Note that A.E.'s name is not given, but can be deduced from the text. So obviously in bold is questions. Can you tell me what happened on Sunday when you went to Wollaton Park? Well, we was going to Wollaton Park. When we came back, we heard a noise in the forest when these men came out half the size of me, and they had long white beards with red at the bottom. Oh, they were stylish, weren't they? Like dyeing the tips of their beards and everything. Oh, that's good style. and they had little white and red cars, and they were chasing us, and they nearly caught PO, and PO fell in the swamp head first, and they kept chasing us. They didn't talk, they was laughing, they was friendly, they was joyful. What time was this? About 8:30. So, Wollaton Park was closed, was it? No, the gate was still open. And it was dark? Yes. Very dark? Not very dark. You could see, and it was garbled. So I'm guessing it was like dusk, sort of thing, like getting dark. You know when the sky's like a really dark blue but not black? That's that sort of thing. And where were you? We was in the swamps, where the swamps are. That patch of trees that I showed you earlier on. What do you call the swamps? Description of swamps and location. And so there would be street lights in the roads there. It would be light enough to see. You're not in any doubt of what you saw. And it's pardon? You have no doubts that what you saw was little men in cars. Said no, very softly. How many were there? There were about 60. There was about 30 cars with 2 in each car. Did the cars have any lights on? They did have lights, but they weren't on. How fast were they going? About 40 and 50 miles per hour. That's quite fast, to be fair. They'd be like zipping along in them things. Really fast, yes. Did they have engines? No, you couldn't hear them at all. Probably electric cars known as Gnomes. I'm pretty sure you did have electric cars back in the 70s. Like they were like not very good, but I suppose you had them. And when they first come out, were you frightened? He said yes, and laughs. What was that the first time you'd seen them? That was the second time. What happened the first time? Well, they didn't actually chase us. We just seen them in the bushes and they ran off. What was that on the same night, or was this a long time ago? A long time ago, about 6 weeks holidays. So that was like school break. July to September, I think it was. In Wollaton Park, yes. Was it in the dark? Was it dark when you saw them for the first time? Yes, they only come out in the dark, I think. Well, they'll come out in the dark because it's like, if gnomes, they normally like gnomes and pixies and stuff, they'll come out when there's like no one around, normally. And there wasn't anyone else around. There weren't any adults there right now then? What were they wearing? Well, they didn't wear trousers, but they wore I keep forgetting, this is child speak, so they tend to like, I'm guessing that they was like nervous when I was being interviewed, because it sounds like they've been like stuttering because there's a lot of repeating in the words. But there was like tights. It was yellow. Last night they had a blue top on, blue thin top, and they wore a cap with a big bobble on the end, like them noddy hats. Did you get the impression that they were very friendly? Yes, you could tell by the face and by the way they laughed. They kept laughing. Yes. Did they? Nobody said anything. No. Did you talk to them? No. Did they play with you? Yes. What was that they doing then? Oh God, did people speak like this back in them days? Chasing us around the trees. The grammar in this is terrible, but I'm guessing it's like because the transcript when they must have like transcribed it. I'm guessing the audio quality wasn't that great. That's why there's a lot of like grammar areas of this. Chasing us around the tree. Did they stay in their cars? Did they? I think they did. I'm not sure, but they were in the cars most of the time. Yes. And how long were they playing with you like that, do you think? About a quarter of an hour. Then we went home. We ran home. And did these little people, what happened to them when you started to go? Did you see where they went? They went back into the bushes. There's wire around them, a fence. That's where they get in. We went into the bushes when it was daytime and we couldn't see anything, just trees and swamps. You couldn't see any marks or tracks or anything. What do you think it was that you saw? Well, it was similar to a dwarf. Were you surprised? Yes. Nervous laugh. How many children were with you when you saw them? 7. Were there with you 7 of them? Okay, so it must be in a group of seven kids, but they only interviewed like a couple of them. And they all saw exactly what you saw. I think they did, because some of them, they was coming from the swamps and they just went, and others they just like shrimped out. Who actually was with you playing with them? You mentioned P.O. Me, P.O., Rosie and A.P. Oh, they give Rosie's name out. What about the older children? Did they? Me, Sister Julie, my sister Julie. Well, my brother Glenn, he was crying. So it's not all anonymous, but it's just first names really, so it's not really doxing on you. Was he? Why? He was scared. How old was Glenn? 8. He was frightened by them? Yes, but you weren't? No. You'd like to see them again? You got no doubt in your mind that what you saw was real? Did you actually touch them? No. Did the cars touch you at all? Did they bump into you? No. Anything else you can think of that might be important that you can remember? I think that was all. They went home. Did you tell your parents? No. Obviously, because they'd probably call you insane if you saw something like that. Why not? Tell them when we saw them in the holidays, Instinct phone rang. And they didn't believe you? No. I see. Okay, that's fine. Thank you ever so much. Okay, so the second interview, and by the way, I'm gonna say this afterwards, so I'm gonna leave it for a minute. Second interview, P.O. or Poe. Let's call it Poe or Poe. Right, Poe. First of all, you can tell me what happened in your own words on Sunday, when you were at Wollaton Park. Well, we was Wollaton, and we were about 8 o'clock, and we got home around 10. Should kids be around after 10 like that? Or after even 8, really? And then we were running, and there was some little men chasing us, and they was in cars, but they didn't harm you though. They was very nice little men. Have you seen them before? Yes, that is twice that we've seen them. And the first time you saw them, what was they doing then? AP heard them at first, and we thought it was a lady in the woods, but it wasn't. It was the cars, the bells ringing, and the hooters. So these are the same questions, because he's asking the same questions to the kids that he was interviewing, and so they was giving different answers of what they personally saw and what they think. Hooters, the car had hooters on, did they? Not hooters, bells. Okay, so a different question because of that other one. Oh, I see. Right now, when you were at Wollaton Park on Sunday, it was dark. How could you see them if it was dark? Because they was all dressed in yellow, green, red, and you could see them in the dark. They showed up. I suppose it's like bright colours you would, wouldn't you? Can you describe what one of them looked like? They had a green hat on with a pom-pom on the top. They had yellow trousers in a red car. Just red? It was different colours as well. What about the tops? They was blue. What about their appearance, their faces? They had a beard, white, red at the bottom of it. They had crinkles on their faces. They was old, and were they frightening? Yes. Yes, they wasn't scared of us, we was scared of them. Were you frightened of them? just because they were so strange. You mean we felt that they was going to hurt us, but they didn't, obviously, no. So so how would you describe the way they were? Were they angry, or were they sad, happy? Did they talk to you at all? They couldn't talk, only laugh. They was all laughing when they was chasing us. So it was a bit mischievous little critters, in other words. And it was just a game they were playing with you, was it? Yes, just chasing us. Where were they chasing you? Do you know where the gates where you come in? They were chasing us around there. So the gate was locked and we started to climb over. Then AP opened the gate and we just ran out of the gates because they didn't come out in the light. If they'd have come outside, they might have died or something like that. I keep forgetting it's northern, isn't it? Because of the lights. Because of the street lights, you mean? Yes. Did the cars have any lights on them? Their cars. Kinda of funny lights. Were they switched on? Yes. When you say kind of funny, in what way? Kind of triangulish. So that contradicts the original person's interview when he said that they didn't have the lights on. How many would you say there were? About 60. 30 cars, 2 in each car. Okay, that's the same. How tall were they? About up to here, up to your waist. Yes, about 3 or 4 foot, something like that. Well, if it's a kid, about 2 to 3 feet. And did any get out of the cars and run around, or were they all in the cars? They couldn't run fast, they could walk. That's what they had the cars for. So some of them did get out, about 10 of them, something like that. The ones that got out the car, what did they do? They just waited, because some of them went out. I mean, ran too far, and then the others come and shout them. So they kind of talk. Did they shout words that you recognise? No. Did one of the cars bump into you? No. Did it chase you into the swamp? Yes. AP fell over into the swamp. Laughs. What did happen then? He was chasing, unclear about something about logs. It was about that deep of the swamp, and he fell head first. I'm guessing it's like a not really deep swamp. Guess like boggy or something. What happened to the cars? They couldn't get over the logs. I don't suppose, could they? They could kind of jump them. How were the cars powered? Did you hear some sounds of engines? No, they got a button that when pressed, if they wanted to turn, they had to lean to the side. So it's like mini electric cars sort of thing. It's kind of cute. How fast could they go? Like a normal car, 120 miles per hour. You didn't actually see them going that fast. They could have caught that. They could have caught us, but you got the impression that they just wanted to play. Would you be frightened if you saw them again? No, because you know what they're able to do. So you just like play with them, I suppose, like enjoy the sight. What do you think they were? What do you think that they were that you saw? Long pause, no comment. In other words, it's not the usual thing to see, is it? You don't think that they were like children? They were like gnomes, something like that. And you were absolutely convinced that that's what you saw. I'm guessing this kid's a bit younger than the other one. And the other saw it as well, and there's no doubt in your mind. AP shouted, unclear. Don't be surprised, that's what Julie Elliott says. Julie Elliott? I know a Julie Elliott. I wonder if that's the same as Bez. No, I don't think so. And then afterwards, afterwards we're just walking home, and this little gate and about 30 cars come out, one after another. And Julie said, "You're right, AP." He apologised for, and then we just ran. How long were you with them, do you think? About 2 hours. But you weren't with them for 2 hours? No, about a quarter of an hour. I see. Thank you so much, Poe. So the last one, third interview, AP. Oh. Okay, so it looks like there's like a long section here. When we went to Wollaton Park, obviously there's no question, but you kind of know what it is. We were just messing about, just looking around the school for the first time, and then we came back about 8:30. Then we were coming back. Poe fell over and said, "Look at those things in the woods." We've seen little men with long black beards, not white beards, black from this one. They had little cars beside them, and then we ran further down and seen one come out of the hole where the fence was. One came out and started gigging at us, little leprechaun gig. And then we went towards it. It went back in its where it came from. When we looked up, we saw loads of them with all blue-green things on them in the trees, all laughing and coming out of the holes in the tops of the trees. When AP seen them, he just ran, 'cause Poe garbled. we just went over the fence to look at them, and when we got closer to them, they went back into the holes. All the colours they wore. The tops were blue, some were in trousers, were ripped and got yellow patches on them. Most of them were in cars. Then we went towards the gate to come out of Wollaton Park. We have seen a lot of them come back again in the trees. That was a lengthy statement. Can you describe them, their faces? They all just had wrinkles in them. Black beard, again black beard is like a completely different colour. Anything special about the beard at all? Was it very long? Yes, it was down there. Down to the waist? Yes, all black. Did they have any hats on? Yes. What kind of hats? Caps. So not noddy hats. This is like different descriptions. So I'd like to know what happened here. What do you mean by cap? A flat one, a pointed one? Like that one you used to see in the olden days where you used to go to bed like noddy. Okay, so not really caps, like little noddy hats. I don't know if they actually call them hats, like pointed hats, that sort of thing. You said that they were laughing all the time. Yes. How tall were they? Size of? Garbled. What do you think you saw? Gnomes or something? You sure they weren't children? No. And it was very dark. You were there. How come you seen them as clearly as you described them? Because when they come out, we seen a light in the trees hanging, and we could see their faces. What kind of light? Just an ordinary light, because when we looked up there was a light. It's probably a lamppost. Did they actually play with you? When we went to the trees, they went back in. When we went away from the trees, they come back out again. Did they actually sort of go around in the car? Yes. Is that the right one? Is it right that one of them chased you? What happened? I just fell over into the swamps, me and Poe. You didn't get the idea that they wanted to hurt you though? No. Did you tell anyone else when you came back from Wollaton? Me, Mum and Dad. What did they say? They didn't believe us, obviously. You are absolutely certain though what you saw was real? Yes. You're not making this up for a lark or something? No. Have you seen them before? Unclear. Sounded like if you could say yes or no. Did the cars, what did they look like? What colours were they? They were sort of green. They had steering wheels. They never had steering wheels. They just had a round thing that they could turn around a handle on it. Okay, in this one he doesn't say that they're leaning to the side to turn. They just said that they got a round thing where they turn. I'm not I know what you mean. How fast did these cars go? Well, very fast. And there are these, and there are two of these little men in each car. What colour were the cars? Blue and green. And how many did you say there were? Cars, 30. How many of these little people? 60. Where do they live? In the trees and in the bushes, and all that lot. You say the trees that they went in, they're around. Did I miss one? No. They're the ones in what you call the swamp? Yes, with the big fence around it. Normally people don't go in there because of the fence. No, you can't go in there, you have to keep out. And when you actually went in, you actually went through the hole to have a look. And they weren't on the ground, they were up in the trees as well. Well, some were on the ground in the cars. Have you been back in the daylight to have a look? No. Well, to be fair, I would have gone in the daylight just to check. And you say there are holes in the trees. Were there actual holes in the trunks of the trees that they went in, or just gaps in the branches? Gaps in the tops of the trees when they went in. I see. Anything else you can remember that you might think would be important? Who else saw them? Well, there was me, Poe, AE, my sister, AE's brother, and her sister. That's smashing. Thank you ever so much, AP. Taped comments from the headmaster. 2 points that could be made about the tape. The first one is that the references AP made to the little men being in the trees, which the other children did not refer on the tape, subsequently in an interview with the Evening Post, the other two independently, as far as I could make out without any convenience, is the fact that they mentioned that they had seen them in the trees in the context of another question. So in a sense, I think that was probably confirmed by what the children had said, but it isn't recorded on the tape here. The second thing is that there is a inconsistency over the colour of the beard. Yeah, I said it. What did I say? Two of the kids said white beards with little red tips on the ends of the beards, and AP said no, it was a full black beard. Two of the children maintained quite staunchly, in fact, like the beards were white with a red tip. AP speaks of it being black, and that inconsistency is not reconciled anywhere. Anyway, I hope the tape is useful to you. That is clear enough. Well then, that is interesting. That is interesting right there. That is good. I quite enjoyed that. I quite enjoyed reading that, like all the questions and that. And to be fair, I do believe the kids. I do believe that what they saw was real. I know that. It's because kids' imaginations, they're seeing it. But to be interviewed in that and to give like reasonable answers to questions and that, I do think what they saw was real. I know that there's like it's things like cryptids and like Sasquatches and these mystical fanciful creatures. I do believe some of them were real at a point, and this was in the late 70s, so might have been. You never know. I do believe that there is some truths to the gnomes. So there you go. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, my links are up there too if you want to support me, and I'll see you guys next time.